everyone, welcome back to Eat the Cake Anime, a podcast where we discuss anime old and new, including movies, cartoon shows from our unique Gen X perspective. I'm your host, Jay Renee. For this episode, we are going to talk about an anime that debuted about 6 or 7 years ago, but the manga itself debuted in 2014. This anime is entitled Armed Girls Machiavellism or Bosou Shoujo. Armed Girls Machiavellism or Bosou Shoujo. It started as a manga in 2014, and the interesting thing about this anime, the reason why I wanted to review it today, is because I feel that it was ahead of its time. Even though it started out in 2014 as a manga and ran until 2 years ago to 2022, it was only one anime show season, and that was 7 years ago in 2017. So what makes this anime so interesting and so great? So a little background about it. It was written by Yuya Kurokami back in 2014, and it started out in a weekly shonen. And it immediately garnered a lot of attention. The manga, the illustrations, it was great, and it got a lot of traction. It ended with, I think, about 13 volumes, and it was a comedy and action manga and anime. And after about 3 years of Bosou Shoujo being very popular, they made an announcement in 2017 that they're going to do an anime. So we were like, okay, great. This is good. The manga is very compelling. And does it have the staying power of others? Some people will say yes, some will say no. But from our perspective at Eat the Cake Anime, we really liked this anime, Armed Girls Machiavellism, because you haven't seen anything like it at the time. So the premise is this. Besides it starting out as a manga from 2014 to 2022, as we said, and the anime was only one season, it's the story of Fudo Nomura. Now, Nomura was a hot-headed kid, teenage boy, doing typical teenage things, but he ended up getting in trouble at his school. So transferred to private HE Symbiosis Academy after a huge fight broke out at his previous school. Nomura just wants to blend in. That's the whole premise. But there's a group of female vigilantes who kind of rule the school, and they control all of the males at private HE Symbiosis Academy. So all of the guys at this school have basically had to kowtow or bow down to the female group. And Nomura, just wanting to blend in, just wanting to go to a school and live his life, this group of females known as the Supreme Five Swords, they control everything. So what happens in this anime is that Nomura challenges the Supreme Five Swords at every turn in order to prove that true basic morality wins out in the end over bullying. Now, that just seems like a regular basic premise, but to us here at Eat the Cake Anime, this was great because it harkened back to some of the 80s, stories and premises about, girls ruling everything and guys kind of trying to turn the tables on the mean girls, so to speak. So that's what makes Armed Girls Machiavellism so compelling, because the manga was in 2014. The anime, once again, only one season. It covered all of those little things. It talked about, popularity and the way you handle people, and it questioned identity and morality and the way you go about living your life and expectations. Yes. I know some people say, you know what? Anime is not that deep. Yes, it is. For true anime fans or people that actually watch anime or even read manga, you can tell, we've talked in previous episodes about parallels. They're all there. And now, even though the manga was written by Kurokami, the anime was written by Kento Shimoyama. And the way they blended the action in with the storylines was really, really good. And that's one of the reasons why we love this anime so much, is because, once again, it was ahead of its time. There was nothing like that really being shown on a mainstream level in anime around 2017, around the premise like Armed Girls Machiavellism, that had all of the pieces, and it was funny to boot. That was another thing. It was actually funny. So Fudo Nomura, it was like, you know what? I'm out here. I'm living my life. I'm doing my thing. But these females are out here running things, basically. Yes, it is a new world. The females are out there running things, and it's like, you know what? All men are bowing down. All males are basically stripping themselves of masculinity to be subservient to the females at the school. So the different episodes, just like the different manga chapters, focuses on Nomura taking on each leader of the Supreme Five Swords and how he turns the tables on them, how he ends up having them come to certain understandings. It's actually very good. So this is one of the animes, and no, it is not popular. No, it is not, mainstream like My Hero and Jujutsu Kaisen and, One Piece and Naruto. It's not a mainstream. It wasn't a mainstream during its run 7 years ago, but this is a perfect example of a single one-season anime that basically wrapped everything up in those 12 episodes. So it is very good. I would encourage you, Bosou Shoujo or Armed Girls Machiavellism. It is a one-season anime, only 12 episodes, but it was still popular enough in Japan that an OVA was released in November of the same year. And it coincided with the manga's 7th volume, so there was a lot of buzz surrounding it. And Armed Girls Machiavellism, it gave weight to the fact that, you know what? Females can rule, females can be bosses, without the constrictures of a man giving you counsel, a man behind the scenes, things like that. I talked to one of my friends, and he actually asked if I felt that Bosou Shoujo or Armed Girls Machiavellism, it goes by, the two names. He was asking, did I think it had anything to do with what was going on at the time? So during the time of 2017, what were we talking about? They were talking about, the Me Too movement, but that was actually more, it was more a movement, the Me Too movement, when we talk about that in relation to this anime, I don't agree with that, because the Me Too movement was a movement against violence against women of both the physical, sexual, emotional nature, and this particular anime does not have that. I think this is more about women's empowerment and the fact that, hey, you can rule, but there's a place for guys as well. So that's one of the reasons why I was so drawn to Bosou Shoujo, because it showed, hey, you can be strong, you can be a boss, you can handle your stuff. And yes, it is a private academy, of kids, but the way anime works and the way anime tells the stories, you can clearly see it by watching. Now, I know some people say, we've done, several podcasts. Some people have chimed in. They have loved some of the recommendations. They have hated some of the other recommendations. So we decided, you know what? Anime makes you think. We want to be able to make sure that things are thought-provoking. And I think anime has a great way of doing that. Now, with this particular anime, Armed Girls Machiavellism, I think it's still available on streaming services, maybe Crunchyroll, but for a while, we couldn't find it. And the challenge was, how can we share the animes that we know and love or appreciate or have strong feelings about if you can't, access it? So producer Ron, I see you looking at me. So producer Ron was just like, okay, let them know where we can find it or where we found it. Now, we found it on the Kodi streaming service. I don't know how, politically correct that is to tell, but with there being over 12,000 anime shows out there, there is something for everyone. Even an obscure genre like this. For Bosou Shoujo, or Armed Girls Machiavellism, yes, it is under the genres of comedy and action. But what makes it that, I think, are the comparisons to other animes. And yes, this one has been compared to other animes like Asterisk War, Trinity 7, Samurai Harem, the list goes on. But I think what makes this particular anime stand out is that it stands out in a way that the comedy is so unexpected that when you start watching it, it's like, oh, okay, that's what they're trying to do. And it turns out, in our opinion, to be a pleasant surprise. So if you're looking for a comedy anime or action anime that has strong female characters and no, they're not being, beset by this man. Of course, in anime, there's the typical, flustering, there's the, typical, as you see in a lot of these shows, like unrequited love or inner dialogues of feelings. Yeah, you get some of that, but the challenges that the Supreme Five Swords puts Nomura through, it is so good that I was actually upset that it was only one season. I'm just like, okay, the season was from April to November in 2017. Then you had the OVA come out at the end of the year in 2017, which was great. However, the manga actually did not end until 5 years later. So if you're into manga, if you like anime, if there's something that you wanted to see brought to life on the anime show stage and a continuation that kept going even after the anime, we would definitely recommend Armed Girls Machiavellism, or its Japanese title, Bosou Shoujo. I have a hard time pronouncing that, but hey. So yeah, I think that this is a good one. Check it out if you can. Let us know what you think. We've been getting such great feedback after every episode. Thank you guys so much. This podcast is for those who are interested in anime, don't know where to begin, who may want suggestions. We have heard from so many people, like romance animes, the slow burns, the action or shonen animes. They're great, but there's so many other genres out there, and we will be exploring all of them as much as we can. So here at Eat the Cake Anime, we are definitely recommending Armed Girls Machiavellism, or Bosou Shoujo. You can find it everywhere you get your streaming services. I would prefer, like maybe Crunchyroll, Kodi, and let us know what you think. So thanks again for checking in with us. Thanks again for checking us out. Thanks for all the feedback. We really appreciate it. And don't forget, here at Eat the Cake Anime, we firmly believe you can enjoy anime while you're doing your other adult things. It is okay to enjoy anime. Until next time.